my name is Jobby, and today we're taking a look at the S.H Figuarts Omnimon, or as he's known in Hentai Land, Omegamon. But Omnimon, both the name and the character, will always have a special place in my heart because he makes an important and spectacular appearance in Digimon the movie. So Omnimon is the combined power of War Greymon and Metal Garurumon. And a bunch of nice comments. If nice comments could actually give you immeasurable power, I'd be weak as fuck. The painting and the sculpting on this figure is super. Out of his beautiful box, you may notice that he's a little bit butt naked. But if you took off his back and grabbed this piece, you can now attach his beautiful cloth cape. And that is totally not annoying to attach. So there was actually another Omnimon figure before this one, the D-Arts Omnimon to be specific. That figure had a shiny metallic finish, some interesting proportions, and a hard plastic cape. It's also very expensive nowadays, so it doesn't exist. But this figure is a brand new sculpt, with more anime-accurate proportions, and a bright, flat finish paint job that's meant to evoke his appearance in our war game, or as it's known as in Trumpopolis, the first act of Digimon the movie. And I gotta say, I prefer these proportions over the figure I've never had. I really like the cape. Usually I'm not a big fan of cloth on plastic figures because most of the time it's unmanageable and cheap looking. And while this big ass cape can be unmanageable, it's definitely not cheap looking, despite one glaring issue. What the fuck is this color? Omnimon's cape is white. It's always been white. It's even white in the movie, so you can't even use the anime accurate excuse. I don't know. It's baffling. Fortunately, the color is acceptable, but I would have preferred pure white. And the thing I said about it being unmanageable, well, there's a solution to that. This accessory actually comes in multiple pieces, and you can place these plastic arms wherever the hell you want, but I prefer this configuration. Now, what this is gonna allow you to do, if you fasten the capes in these hooks, it allows you to pose the cape. At first, this was one of my least favorite parts of the figure. I thought to myself, why didn't they just use a bendy wire for the cape? But after messing around with it for a while, this accessory is actually quite brilliant. Messing around with it while utilizing the natural properties of the cloth allows you to get some really natural poses. Now with that kind of complicated accessory out of the way, let's kick it up with the fun stuff. First of all, you get the Supreme! Also known as the Garuru Cannon, and you get the Transcendent, also known as the Grey Sword. I would suggest caution while inserting these pieces, as the paint could probably rub off on their mouth. The runes on the Transcendent Sword look absolutely beautiful, and I don't know about you guys, but it looks like it's telling me to put it somewhere. And if you pop his shoulders off, you can replace them with these awesome looking shoulder pieces that have a sculpted in mat and tie. And the sculpting on these guys is surprisingly detailed. And even though the figure can stand fine on its own, you get an included stand that plugs right into his back, or the included cape accessory. I mean, the circular base looks cool and all, but you can't exactly get him up in the air. That's where the Bandai Tamashii Nations Act 5 stand comes in. Something that amazes me about this figure is how solid it feels. Despite looking super skinny that you'll break him by looking at him wrong, the joints are surprisingly tight and the plastic is tough and durable. Just mind the horns. So it really surprised me that this figure was a joy to ball joint at the head, and the ball joint at the base of the neck allows him to look up really far and look down really far. Ball joint at the shoulder allows for a high degree of rotation, some forward movement, arm moves out, ball joint at the upper elbow, which acts as kind of a fake elbow bend. And every ball joint of course can be a actual hinge joint at the lower elbow, ball joint at the wrist, and every ball joint mouth opens. And same posability on the Garuru arm, except the shoulder pad moves down to allow for some outward movement. Ball joint at this piece, which allows it to move up, and that allows for a chest crunch. Ball joint at the waist, swivel here, rotation at the legs, and they could go pretty far. Pretty good spread. Ball joint at the thigh, and I don't even have to say it at this point. Single jointed knee that bends really far. Ankle can extend, which allows for a pretty good fuck, that's tight. If you decide to get this figure, know that this is actually a common issue. Try as you may, it's just gonna feel like you're breaking the damn thing. And while I didn't break the ankle, it definitely broke my heart. A figure of this price and this visual quality with no ankle pivot? I wanted to die more than I normally do. But I am glad to say that I found a solution. Well, technically, I didn't find it. I watched the video by Steven's Toy Reviews about lubricating joints with dish soap, and that's exactly what I did. This ankle joint is actually a ball joint. So all I did was drop a ton of dish soap in that ball joint, slowly play with it until it finally could pivot. And basically, my one major complaint was washed away. Oh, and also the toes can bend outward, who cares? So the posability on this guy is really good, but with the beautiful cape and awesome ankle pivot in play, you can make the figure look transcendent. Or supreme if you prefer. Now for such an awesome and important character, he had better be a good size. Thankfully he is. Here's Masterpiece Optimus Prime, Figma Madoka Kaname, S.H Monster Arts Godzilla, and the D-Arts War Greymon, and S.H Figuarts Metal Garurumon. God, I'm coming all over my childhood. That sounded illegal. Overall, this figure is amazing. This figure is a near-perfect depiction of an awesome character with beautiful painting and sculpting, awesome articulation, and the greatest thing of all, it's fun to play with. Not to mention it's fucking affordable! Definitely get this figure if you're a Digimon fan, and if you don't mind the learning curve of the cape and putting work on the ankles. So that about wraps up this weird influx of Digimon videos. Well, it seems like I'm a bit hungry. It's a good thing I know how to cook. Kitty can swim in the sky. She can fly beneath the sea.